Hey, this is Politics with Laura, to where everything is politics. Whether if it's here locally in the US or if it's international, you will get the true news because I use newspapers from around the world. Politicians here or politicians over there, or if there's a war here or a war over there, I would make sure that you know about it. Hey, Brazil's elections. Wow. Before I get to that, I found this article in Namibia. Namibia is in Africa, East Africa, and right next to Zimbabwe. And follow this through. Just don't stop. Just listen, because this is extremely important, and it will. How can I say? It has national, or shall I say, international implications. Now, those of us who know this, the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has has started to take over the world's currency. Well, meaning China and the yuan, but they're not. But China has its four allies that I just simply listed, and now you have more countries jumping on with the BRICS nations because NATO, the US NATO has, or better yet, the US has been an economical bully besides being a physical bully. But this is what I find interesting. Brazil had an election, and and this is by Vanessa Schultzer. I'm messing up her name. Brazil has taken a turn to the left as former President Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva beat a far right wing incumbent, Javier Bolsonaro, in the presidential elections. Now there has been a lot of turmoil going on down there in Brazil. Now this is what I find interesting. A lot of these deals have been made with Bolsonaro, with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, the previous president was a far wing leaning president. Now there's a far left leaning president. Now, here's the interesting thing. Whether if you're far right or far left, you belong to the same bird and you just simply flap in different ways, but you're still getting to the same point. Now, I wonder if the new president, De Silva, is going to ruffle feathers in the BRICS nations. I don't know. I don't know because Brazil has a lot going on, and between Brazil and Venezuela, yeah. Hmm. I wonder if that had anything to do with Nancy Pelosi. She's into everything. She's into so much. It's just a thought. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that alone right there. But here in the article, it said after a divisive campaign which saw two bitter rivals on opposite sides of the political spectrum go head to head, Lula won 50.9%, wow, of the votes, enough to beat uh, Bolsero. I'm still pronouncing the man's name wrong. It was a stunning comeback from this politician. Now, De Silva was president before. Whatever um, Bolsero did, it landed De Silva in jail. He or had a lot of political issues, I'll put it like that. And he said, Yeah, he did. Lula spent 580 days in jail before his conviction was nullified and his return to the political fray. Wow. Whatever happened set this man up to go to jail and for him to come out and kick your butt. Oh, 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 oh. That right there to me shows a huge um hmm, I don't want to call names or throw stones. I don't want to do that. But that is something. Now, what does this do with the how would this affect the allies? That's what I want to know. Cuz now Russia is already at war with the Ukraine. Now, the Russia is saying, "Hey, you got some some Nazis, and now he's calling them demonic devils." I mean, wow. Okay, and now you have people from the other country that I can't name because the United States is losing its freedom of speech because you have a groups of people that want to censor, and they're not realizing when you censor other people, you censor yourself because you're going to knock everybody out because you want your own way, and you're a delicate little flower, and I'll leave it as that. Now he's fighting the country I can't name that's right next door. Now you have China. Now Nancy Pelosi, I just did a video that her husband was beaten up. And the guy was really after Nancy Pelosi because his ideas were I'm going to break into this woman's house. I'm going to hold her captive and I want to talk to her. And when I talk to her, I want her to tell me the truth. And if she doesn't tell me the truth, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to bust her kneecaps. And then I want her to wheel herself into the Capitol so all the other senators and Congress people can see what he did and that can happen to them. You can't make this stuff up. But I said that to say Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan when President Xi Jinping asked her not to. Now, Xi Jinping has one lifetime to be a president. Now, when Nancy Pelosi went over there, now here's the interesting thing: Nancy Pelosi, but Xi Jinping is like, hey, Biden, tell Pelosi to stay out of Taiwan. Joe Biden says, I can't do anything. I have no power, which is a lie. I don't know if Joe either had a lapse of memory. Maybe he drank some coffee or whatever and didn't quite understand. I don't know. But when Nancy Pelosi tried to leave the United States back in 2019 with what, like 20 of her family members. I think the number was 70. I'm not quite sure. Donald Trump told her no and ground the plane. But Joe Biden can't do that. So she goes over with, I believe, her son. Now, what if Xi Jinping said, okay, let me go ahead and knock that plane down? So she goes over there to Taiwan. Taiwan belongs to China. China gave them 50, what was it, 50 years? No, 30 years to get used to not having English rule and to give them time to decompress and to come back under the fold of China. Now, back in 2019, there was a whole lot of hoo ha ha over there, and people were protesting out in the streets about not having China. They don't want to go back to China. Now, Taiwan is very pivotal because that is where all of the Asian, actually, the world transactions go through China, or go through Taiwan. Now that Taiwan belongs to China, China has access to that now. Wow, major play. I don't know what made England back out, or shall I say Britain back out, and to give Taiwan back to China, because Britain has been there since what was it, the 1820s, if my history is correct. You could look it up if you want to. They were fighting for about 20 years until China said, "Hey, you can have it. We really can't beat you." So gave Taiwan to England, and then England Anglified them. Mm. Now, what does it have to do with the BRIC nations? Brazil? It all depends what this new president does. And I'm pretty sure the president's going to fall right into place. I'm not sure. He may fall into place because the economics is falling apart. The economy, the world economy is falling apart. And everyone is jockeying towards crypto. It's going to be quite interesting to see when that happens. And if you're not ready for this, you better get ready because this economical collapse, you're going to have the economy collapsing, oh my goodness, businesses collapsing, the housing market is going to bust. You're going to have all these things going on at once. Oh my goodness, I could just see it falling apart. I mean, I see it falling apart now. I mean, you okay, I don't want to digress, but I thought that the presidential election in Brazil was quite interesting. So it went from right leaning to left leaning. Wonder what's going to come out of that. So tell me, what do you think? I want to thank you for stopping by because you could be anywhere, but you decide to stay here with me and listen to my video because politics runs the world. Now, whether if you agree with the politics or not, put something down in the comment section. Whether if you agree or disagree with me, that is okay. We can agree to disagree, or we can agree to agree. So please help me get to 500 subscribers, and then help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And thank you for stopping by.